This week, we are going to be working with CSS3, and you're specifically going to learn about 2D transformations, 3D transformations, and animation, in addition to some additional CSS properties that are pretty new. We have looked at some of these CSS3 properties already. Border radius is one of them. Text shadow is another. Overflow is another. But you're going to be learning a lot more today. So you're going to want to start with the web-based readings. And they are all fairly short and focused on new things that we have not really talked about yet. Okay, in the different categories. Then you're going to go through the lecture demo, and in the lecture demo, it's pretty comprehensive, covering all of the standard CSS3. There might be a couple newer things that we don't catch in here, but there is review, and then there's also new things. If it's review, you'll notice that I have the word review next to it. Okay, so lots and lots of examples, links to interactive examples. And then if you don't see review, that means there's new information here. Okay, and again, links to lots of examples. So far with color, we've been using hex, color names, and RGB. So you'll learn a variation, RGBA. The A stands for alpha, which indicates transparency. You'll be learning how to specify color using HSL, hue, saturation, and lightness, and HSLA, which adds the alpha in there. You'll also learn how to create gradients. And so you can put the gradients in the background of the page or the background of any element. So how do you do a linear and radial gradient in CSS? So as you go through here, I think you guys are really going to enjoy learning about this. Here you can see I did a radial gradient to create a ball. Okay, and you can have the gradients repeat. Shadows we've covered just because they are so cool, but we have a little review of that here as well. Talk about some new text features in CSS3. And once we get done with that, we get into web fonts, which pretty much lets you pull in any font that you can download. Any font you can download and store, you can pull into your page. And this explains how to do that. Filters is super, super cool. This is new. And if you're familiar with Photoshop filters, this kind of does the same thing through CSS. So I've got this little interactive fun example for you guys. Here's the original picture. And you can see filter.grayscale at 100%. Here's sepia. Here's a blurred background. Here I changed brightness and saturate. And I got little sliders down here. Not only that, but it's going to tell you what the values are. So you can kind of play with this. And then you'll be able to see, you know, what these different settings do. Now, I will tell you that I don't really combine them here. So it's just, I wanted you to be able to see what each one does individually. Okay, so you can kind of play with that and it shows you what the value is set to down here. Then we get into 2D transformations. And I have, again, some interactive examples. I just think it's super helpful for you guys to kind of play around with these things and see what happens. Okay, and then this isn't interactive, but it does tell you what happens when it's 30 degrees rotated. This has a translate of 300 and -10, so you can kind of see what happens there. This is skewed, so you can see what that looks like. and interactive examples for everything. You can do 3D transformations, which bring into the Z value. 2D are primarily X and Y axis, and then 3D incorporates the Z value. Okay, so you can actually kind of go through these. There's interactive examples. We get into 3D transitions, which is kind of cool. So I do have some example pages, and these transitions basically look like animation. Okay, so the code I use is here. There's interactive pages. So hopefully you guys will have fun looking through all of this and playing around with it, because that is how you learn. Once you finish the lecture demo, you're going to go into the assignment where you are going to get practice using very specific features. So there are files for you to download and graphics, and even a font that you're going to download to a font folder. Okay, so you're going to be creating the folders first and then downloading the files to the folders. And then you're going to be working with the famous quote page. I have a video that shows you how to do everything, but you're going to be doing a little quote box so that when you point at the quote and you pause, you will see the name of the person who made the quote. Okay, so that's going to be the first change that you make to this web page. And I did try to highlight, things that you need to add. And you'll be putting a little background image in the quote tag and adding a little fishy to it. And then I'm going to have you animate the page. So basically, when the page loads, those little quote boxes are going to fall and they're going to bounce. Okay, and that's what the animation does. Now, at this point, you've added quite a bit to this famous quote page. So I did incorporate all of the changes into this PDF so you can make sure that you got them all. Okay, so it shows you all of the changes. This is the final page. And then you'll be creating a 3D cube. And for some reason, this does give people problems. So this is an iframe. And you'll notice you can click here and get rid of that little graphic so that you can increase the size. And you can either do that or you can look at the separate PDF, whatever is easiest. But this has all of the code that you need to create this lovely cube. Okay. And if the cube does not look like this, like if you've got the front pushed back or the back pushed front, or you don't have a cube at all, then there's some typos going on. So you're going to need to come back in here and kind of take a look at what you missed. Then you are going to get to animate a ball, which is kind of fun. This is all of the code that you need to create a bouncing ball. Then you're going to take your song snippet file and you are going to be adding some animation to that. Okay, so these are the directions on how to do that. And that is pretty much all you need for the textbook assignment. And then you'll be doing a lab assignment. So you're going to be adding animation to your Flexbox model page and to your form that you created. So you are going to want to copy them, from lesson 6 into lesson 9 and lesson 8 into lesson 9. Make sure if you have graphics that you copy those as well. And then you are going to apply animation to your Flexbox page and animation to the form. And the directions are right here. So it starts with the Flexbox model. Now, do you need to use the exact same animation I did? No, you can do different animation. This is just an example, but I do want your Flexbox model animated. So this is what mine looks like animated. But if you wanted to do, a little different animation, that is perfectly fine. If you wanted to scale it and make it bigger or smaller when you hover, that's fine too. Totally up to you. Then you are going to animate the form, and that's what this is talking about, animating the form. And so with the form, you want the different form elements to actually slide in. Okay, so that is what this is referring to. And not only did I have the form slide in, the input buttons, I actually animate too. So this is my animated form. You can see how things are sliding in. And then if I come down here, oh, I don't think I applied that animation. If you want to make these rotate, you can, but you definitely need the title and the sections to animate. So make sure you've got that going on in your form. Then we get into the resizable boxes. So you're going to download this, and this is just practicing using the background size set to contain and the background size set to cover so you can see what the difference is. The graphic that we're using is the graphic that we used in the famous quotes. So there is no need to download another graphic, but you do need to download this page. You're going to set each one of these sections to resizable so you can change the size. And that's pretty much it. So basically, these two boxes, the one with the graphic and the inner one, you're going to change it so they're resizable so that there's a resize handle in the corner and you can drag it and you can make them bigger or smaller. Okay, and then this is showing your completed code. Part 3, animate your assignment page. You can add a keyframe or a transition effect to your assignment page, do whatever you want. And you can animate any section that you want. Okay, so you can do the title, you can do these little lesson headings, you can do the bullets, whatever it is that you want to animate. Okay, and then you're going to update the assignment page itself by adding in the links to the textbook assignment and also adding in the links to the work you did on the lab assignment. Okay, and that is what you're going to be working on this week. And I think you guys will have a lot of fun with it. CSS3 animation is lots of fun. So play around with it, have a good time with it. If you do run into any problems, if something is not working, transfer it to the web and email me, and then I will go take a look at it. I do need it on the web in order for me to help you, though. I have to see all the code and I have to see what it's doing. So have an awesome week, and I hope you enjoy the assignment.